This episode may contain moderately strong language and themes.
I'm Emma Clarke, a professional voiceover. Welcome to Dodgy Voiceover Direction, the podcast that celebrates dodgy voiceover direction. I mean, the clue's in the title, really, isn't it?
Welcome to Dodgy Voiceover Direction with Emma Clarke.
It was a Tuesday, and the dog had a gastric infection. I won't go into details, but I wasn't in the mood for japes, and was frankly off my head on carpet cleaner fumes when the email arrived. It was from a man I'd only ever heard about but had never communicated with. To be honest, I wasn't even sure he truly existed. Was he a myth? Like the Tooth Fairy or the Smurfs? Except this was a man with a reputation for wearing leather trousers in commercial radio sales meetings and throwing pistachio shells at clients. He didn't leave presents under your pillow or sing upbeat songs about joy and environmentalism. At least, I didn't think he did. Anyway, the email was from him. Finally, I've arrived, I thought. He knows who I am. The subject line gave nothing away. Hey, it said, making him seem chummy and approachable and not at all the awe-inspiring leather legend I assumed he was. I opened the email, and there it was. The request so many voiceovers dream of. The kind of question we wait our entire careers to answer. It said,
Dear Emma Clarke, can you sound old, but not decrepit? But more importantly, as if you've got funeral envy.
Listener, my heart quickened. Thankfully, not in a way that made it likely I'd need my own funeral in the not-too-distant, but my heart definitely went a bit faster. Yes, I wanted to shout. Yes, I can sound old yet perky, like I'm the kind of woman who can still rock a tank top and plays badminton with Elaine, the mobile hairdresser from over the road occasionally. The kind of active older lady who still enjoys gardening, line dancing and a damn good shag. Yes, I wanted to reply, this is a part I was born for. But I didn't. I'll level with you. The funeral envy bit got to me. I could guess the scenario. Two middle-class lady neighbours would be chatting over the garden fence, and suddenly the conversation would turn to funeral plans. You know, like they do. And one of the women would have already planned her funeral and would have already spared her family the worry and expense of having to do it for her. Whereas the other lady, me presumably, isn't so well organised and hasn't even thought about planning her funeral because she's been too busy buying tank tops and fantasising about shagging Elaine's 28-year-old personal trainer who might be called Barry. I don't know, that's just a guess. The other lady, me, has thus far been too narcissistic and self-involved to give planning her own moribund state a second thought, and suddenly, in that conversation, so poignantly depicted in that radio commercial, her selfish, thoughtless ignorance of all things funerary are coming home to roost, like zombie chickens who are also morbid portents of beaky doom. The entire commercial relied on making listeners feel anxious about A, death, and B, spending a significant amount of money to try to reduce that very anxiety. It's like that ad on telly that suggests that if you've got a sofa that's over 3 years old, you should feel an emotion some copywriter has named house-barrassment. In advertising, the only way to make yourself feel better is to buy more stuff. I mean, obvious, isn't it? In my own life, I'm not too arsed about my own funeral. The key reason for this is that my father bought me my own grave as a birthday present. That is actually true. So I feel like I'm already more than halfway there with the funeral plans. I mean, what else is there to organise? A playlist, a dress code, and a platter of multi-dietary requirement-friendly sandwiches, surely. I'm pretty sure I'm over 54% planned, so thanks but no thanks, all right? Anyway, I didn't say any of that to the mythical legend in my inbox. No, I said, leave it with me. Then, in a desperate act of self-harm, put a winking emoji at the end of my message. I sighed and looked at the poorly dog. She seemed to understand and wafted an exhausted paw in my direction. I nodded ruefully, got up and made my way to the voice booth to sound envious of somebody's fictional but very well planned and paid for funeral. I mean, somebody's got to work to pay for the vanish stain remover, haven't they?
You've been listening to Dodgy Voiceover Direction with Emma Clarke. Rate the show, write us a review, and tell your friends. Thanks for listening.
That's it for this episode of Dodgy Voiceover Direction. Find out more about me and my work at emmaclarke.com. There's an E on the end of Clarke, by the way. Listen to my stuff, read my blog, and if you want to know more, sign up for my newsletter. If you enjoyed this show, give us a rating, hopefully a good one, and leave a review, and tell your mates. If you find me endlessly fascinating, unlikely I know, but a girl can hope, you can check out the music I write. You see, I'm also a classical composer. And the music podcasts I make before the bar opens and the title track. All my music stuff is at ebclarke.com. See you next time on Dodgy Voiceover Direction.